These telephone recordings are all from January 1982. This narration is in 2017, and the rest of the narration was done at the time the telephone recordings were made. In January 1982, my computer, running the AutoGen program, found an access number to a CCSA network that was for an oil company. The network was probably run by Southern Pacific Communications, the forerunner to Sprint. You could call up a local number in Atlanta, get a dial tone, dial a 7-digit number in that company network, and then the security code 2222, and the call would go through. I was using that access number to explore and learn about their network until finally one day they changed that 4-digit security code, super secure 2222. Well, it got changed to some other 4-digit code. I had the equipment to automatically find the new code, but I decided, nah. To understand this kind of a telephone network, it's important to listen to early 80s program 2 and then program 4. Otherwise, this stuff that follows won't make a lot of sense. This program continues the final part of my exploration of that network until I was cut off because they changed the code.
Have I not yet demonstrated that you have to wait for that stupid beep beep to put the 2222 in? I don't think I've demonstrated that. Here's a normal call to 299-9900. Isn't that something? It's on carrier. Did you hear the way that went through? Okay, let me dial the same number again, except I will dial my 2222 right after dialing the number. Now I'll demonstrate that you have to wait for the second beep. You can't even start it on the first one. Here's what 299-9999 does. If you really want to get a sense of what it's going to be like when there's an all CCIS universe, here's what happens when someone is already on that number and you dial it. Notice how there was carrier noise on the ring, but not the busy.
In the old network, you would get a busy signal from the distant end. But as the network began to modernize and use common channel interoffice signaling, you would often get your local busy signal tone, even if the number you were calling was far away and would normally be connected over a carrier trunk. That's what I'm talking about there. The ring sounds like this. Obviously, there's carrier noise, but the busy, that's local. And to me in 1982, that's extremely futuristic. Earlier in this exploration, I dialed 958, the test code that tells you what number you're calling from, on a tie trunk used by this network to call New York City. It came back with a telephone number, but the first digit of the number could not be heard. Every time I would do it, I'd hear this.
7, 3, 8, 4, 2, 9.
I decided to try to find out what the real telephone number was.
I've gone through and dialed 212 everything 739972, and it all goes through, indicating that whatever that number is that their tie line is identifying to, that ain't the number it's in.
9972 is the supervision test. It can't go through if you dial it in the office you're calling from. The fact that it went through on all of those codes means that this tie line really isn't served by the something 73 office. It's another ESS, because if it really were something 73, 9972 in one of those codes would not have completed. But in fact, they all did go through.
So I'm going to try to use another method to find out what that line number is.
What I'm going to do is to try to call a switch room in a number 1 ESS. Number 1 ESS can very quickly trace a call you make to them. They can almost instantly find out what central office you are coming in from. What complicates things somewhat is that some switch room numbers are call forwarded to a centralized switching control center, and that makes it harder for them to trace my call. So I'm going to call a Manhattan ESS switch room number, listen carefully to see if it's call forwarded somewhere, and if it is, I'll ask the guy who answers to give me a number I can reach him on more directly.
SCC.
Yeah, SCC, can you hear me?
Yeah, I barely hear you.
Yeah, this is Atlanta. I've got this New York tie line that I need to find out what's going on with. Can you give me a number I can call into you on that you can trace me and find out what office I'm coming from? Just a number I can dial into you direct and you can trace the call.
You want to trace the call? What number are you calling?
Well, right now I dialed you on Gramercy 3 official 90, but that just forwarded to wherever you are. That's not, that's not.
That's right. Well, this number here, let's see, hold on a second, let me.
Uh-oh, I hope he's not stalling to buy time to trace my call. Just kidding, that's the whole idea.
You want the central office that you dialed?
No, I want to know which one I'm coming in from. But first I've got to make the call to you, you see. Because right now, this call I'm on now is forwarding through that East 13th Street number. And that makes it a little more complicated. So what number can I call you back on directly?
Oh, I see. Well, you can call me at 766-9945.
Okay, I'll dial you right back.
Okay.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, see if you can find out what office I'm coming from now.
Well, yeah, I can trace that 766 number.
Yeah, I want you to trace me right now on the call I'm talking to you on.
Hold on. Well, I've got truck number 10 on 460.
Oh,
460 is a Midtown Central office.
okay.
I'm sorry, 490.
Truck number 10
Number 10 on 490.
from 490.
Yeah, it's from, say, well, what are you trying to accomplish here by calling this number here?
Well, I was trying to find out what office this particular FX line that I have picked is served out of. Because I don't know what this thing is here. I found so it's from 49. It's in the 490 office then.
490 apparently, yeah.
Okay. One more thing. Do you have a number for the switch room in that office that I could call during the daytime?
Well, in daytime it's called I think, hold on a second.
Okay.
Uh, 791-9400.
791-9400. Okay, thanks a lot.
The thing to do next is to call that switch room on Monday morning. Hopefully the number he gave is in the same ESS unit as the 490 code. If so, they'll be able to tell me my number pretty quick, because within the same switching unit you can trace it right to the line. For what it's worth, I'm not surprised that it's in the 490 ESS machine, because I know that 958 machine. That was actually the first one in New York City that was not a Cognitronics. It's just one of those things you never forget. There were these two payphones in 490 that turned up in the Grand Central Station subway station, and that was the first place I heard that rather strange to me sounding 958 machine, because until that point I'd only heard Cognitronics machines. So it's etched into my mind going 490. I'll never forget. That was in 1974 or 5.
I found a tie line code 333. I don't yet know what it goes to, but occasionally when dialing it I've gotten a dial tone. And what I dialed on the dial tone gave me something very interesting, and I'll see if I can make that happen again.
The number dialed is invalid. Please check the number and redial your call.
Now that's what I wanted to get. That is not what normally happens, but there you have it, the digital equivalent of the electromechanical announcements that we've gotten so far. Hello?
Hello,
What city is this, please?
this is Texas City.
Okay, thank you. Now what that was is I dialed 333-1000. Apparently 333 goes to some sort of dimension, and the last 3 digits you dialed get dialed into the dimension. So what got dialed into the dimension was 000. Let me try 333 plus a throwaway digit. I'll dial a 1. plus 81 something and see whether we can find an access back into this CCSA from that dimension.
We're sorry, your call cannot be completed as well. Please check the number and dial again or call your operator to help you. This is a recording. We're sorry, your call cannot be completed as well. Please check the number and dial again or call your operator to help you. This is a recording. We're sorry, your call cannot be completed as well.
Well, what does that tell us? We dialed 333 something 812 and ended up on some sort of ESS line. Now the question is that an outgoing line or is it a tie line to a Centrex? And what's the code for it? 881 or 812? It's going to be hard to tell. Let me dial 333, a throwaway digit, and then 810. See what happens.
That was a random call failure, so common with this, and even more so the ContelNet. These privately administered CCSAs, well, let's just say they're not the Bell system. Anyway, I'm dialing a sequence of digits that will put 810 into the dimension PBX whose code is 333. I'm thinking that 81 is probably the code for an outgoing line, 0 will get the phone company operator, and I can ask her whether the number I'm calling from looks like an outward Watts line or a regular line. If this is an outward Watts line, the operator will see my telephone number as beginning with a 1. Now that can't be called back. It's just for billing purposes, but it's a line that only makes outgoing calls, so they would do that.
Hello? Operator, do you show the number I'm calling from begins with a 0 or a 1, or is it a regular number?
What, sir?
Is the number I'm calling from a regular number, or does it begin with a 0 or a 1 like a Watts line?
Barely understand. Does your number end in a 0? Is that what you're saying?
No, does it begin with a 0 or a 1?
What, long distance?
No, I want to know if the number I'm calling from begins with a 0 or a 1.
Neither one, sir.
Okay, then it's a regular line. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, so the code probably now is 81, since O gave us the operator. So let me try 811.
By the way, every time the 333 dimension hangs up on the network, it has kind of a cool buzz. That says something about the trunks on the way to that PBX. Possibly that there's a T-carrier link in there.
We're sorry, your call cannot be completed as that. Please check the number and dial again or call your operator to help you. This is a recording. We're sorry, your call cannot be completed as that.
So 1 plus a long distance number gave me an L recording. I'll get back to that 81 in the 333 PBX later. Let me see what happens if I dial 333, throwaway digit 820.
Operator.
Yes, ma'am. What PBX have I reached here?
The main switchboard in Texas City.
In Texas City?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, bye-bye.
What we've just heard indicates that 82 is a tie line to another PBX in Texas City, probably a Bell System crossbar PBX. The attendant has a recorded line. That high-pitched tone is the old recorder warning tone.
So 82 is most likely something else. Let me see what 9 is. Let me dial 333, throwaway digit, and then 9, and then the beginning of an area code and a number. See what happens.
Your call did not complete as dialed. For long-distance calls, please dial the access code 1 or 0, then the 7 or 10-digit number. This is a recording. Your call did not complete as dialed. For long-distance calls, please dial the access code 1 or 0, then the 7 or 10-digit number. This is a...
All right. Let's try 333, throwaway digit 91, and then the beginning of an area code.
You have reached Amsterdam Tandem 2 in the 212 area. This is a verification recording for code 907. You have reached Amsterdam Tandem 2 in the 212 area. This is a verification recording for code 907. You have reached Amsterdam...
Okay, what I dialed was 212-850-9901, which gives you a verification recording, no longer for the code 850, but it does show that on the 9 line reached this way, the long-distance calls do just go through. They probably would bill normally, so I wouldn't want to complete them. Okay, so here's what we have on 333. 81 went to some sort of regular line, probably an FX line to another city. 82 went to some PBX, sounded like a crossbar PBX. 9 went to an ESS regular line. And here's what 83 does. And it's unfortunate what 83 does, because 83 seems to be the code for the CCSA. The only trouble is that it appears the trunks are dial pulse operated. I'm going to dial 333, a throwaway digit, and then 832. And then when I'm finally cut through, I'll dial the rest of a 10-digit number. But it isn't going to hear me, and it's just going to time out to the CCSA reorder. Now that's probably the thing I was looking for, but unfortunately we can't use it. Somewhere along the line we're going to find a PBX that lets you get back into the system from it, and then we can do some looping around the country. In the meantime, let me see what 85 is. I know 84 is vacant. By the way, 333 is a dimension. I found that out. And if 85 is vacant, you'll find it out too. So here's 333, a throwaway digit, and then 85, and then another digit. See, this time we never got cut through to the PBX. That reorder came apparently from whichever Dan Ray machine serves that area that we reached on 83. But this time we didn't even get in there. So let's try it again. One more thing, remember that crossbar PBX, or what sounded like a crossbar PBX, on 82 through 333? Let me get something else from that PBX by dialing 333, a throwaway digit, 82, and then 9. See whether that PBX will let us get its 9 line.
The number dialed is invalid. Please check the number and redial your call.
Network failure again. And by the way, I can hear why we're getting that cool buzz when this link hangs up. It is T-carrier somewhere in the linkage. And it just happens to sound cool this time. Usually it just sounds ugly. Went off hook. But now
thing sure doesn't make life easy for me. Here I am trying to get a 9-line dial tone from some PBX, which is 82 through the dimension 333. And I dial it, and sure enough, I get a dial tone, but not the dial tone I wanted. I got a dial tone from the CCSA tandem. So let's try it again. Here's I'm dialing 333-1829. So maybe that 82 PBX wants another digit after 9. Unfortunately, we can't do anything about that because touchtone doesn't work on those trunks. I tried it on another call. So that's really about it for that PBX accessed that way. Maybe we'll find a tie line code that accesses that PBX directly. Before I go any further, I want to make a good recording of a good quality vacant code recording. So far, I haven't gotten one on tape, though there is one to be heard. So the next call you hear will be that, though I may have to run the tape back several times to get it.
The number you have dialed is invalid. Please check the number and redial your call.
Right now it's about 4:30 in the afternoon, and I want to record what this thing does when the circuits are busy.
Please hold.
It's funny that it had to go on carrier to get the announcement to say please hold. And here we are sitting on the Atlanta switch. No carrier noise now. We've been queued. Eventually it's going to put the call out on a local Watts line from Atlanta. I guess that's the best it can do. And this is a Denver number that ends up being intercepted by the Denver 4E.
We're sorry, you have reached a number that has been disconnected or no longer in service. If you feel you have reached this recording in error, please check the number or try your call again. 303-1C. We're sorry, you have reached a number that has been disconnected or no longer in service. If you feel you have reached this recording in error, please check the number or try your call again. 303-1C.
Please hold.
It's going to make a tick here that really doesn't seem to amount to anything. And now the next tick will be cutting through to the local Atlanta Watts line. There.
We're sorry, you have reached a number that has been disconnected or no longer in service. If you feel you have reached this recording in error, please check the number or try your call again. 303-1C.
.723 is a Centrex in Denver, and all of the last 4 digits are significant. Here's the ANI readback, reached by dialing 723-9711.
Eight, 6, 3, 0, 1, 0, 0.
One of the nice things about 723 is that 8 works. So let me dial 723-8 and then, I don't know, an invalid area code. And then, after I'm cut through, I'll dial the rest of the number to get us the recording.
The number you have dialed is invalid. Please check the number and redial your call.
Well, now that there's a Denver access to the CCSA, I can call my other line by way of Denver and not create an unusual bill because this is a CCSA call, not a 9-line call. But just as a safety precaution, I'm going to dial the number of a telephone in my local phone center store, which I forwarded to my other line. So it'll be 723 for the Denver Centrex plus 8 plus 404, that's my area code, and then once the call has gone through, I'll dial the rest of the number directly into the CCSA via the Denver Centrex.
Hi. I'm just calling you and me through this thing to demonstrate how it works. Stop the tape a minute. So how I did this, of course, was to dial 723-8404. Then after the cut-through, I dialed the rest of the number, and that sent it through the network. And I dialed a number in my office that reaches me, thanks to the miracle of call forwarding and the phone center store. I like the delay. Okay, now I'm going to hang up on you and cause you to time out. The disconnect from this end is real boring. I can assure you of that, and I'll demonstrate it to you in a little bit. Hello. You're now on an incoming call, placed the same way, and you get to hear the disconnect when I hang up. Let me tie the lines a minute. Wish I could let you hear the delay without having to tie the lines. Hold on, I'll put the phones together. Ready, I'll put this earphone up to the mouthpiece here. Earphone that's monitoring what the recorder's hearing.
come the speed of the delay changes? Well, it looks like it's going to stay like this. Okay, here's disconnect.
That was the last call I recorded before the super secret security code for the Atlanta access to this network, 2222, was changed to something else. I don't think it was a result of my playing with it. They probably just got around to changing the default to something reasonable, and I decided not to try to find it. So that's as far as the research went. It was sort of cut off at that point, and I never got to call the New York switch room and have them trace me. Oh well. Anyway, that's it for this program. This is the last of the recordings of the Oil CCSA. There's a similar network, ContelNet, that I got a lot more recordings of during 1980 and 81.